Talk about putting all eggs in one basket. A few short years ago, they quit their jobs and started a business. They then sold their home to fund it. And did I mention she was a new mum with a 1-year-old at the time? Meet Shubra Chadda and Vivek Prabhakar. Chumbak is the labor of love that Shubra and Vivek created from scratch. They may have started small, but today they have 35 stores retailing over 100 categories and a cult brand that has the kind of appeal and customer stickiness any retail business would be proud of. It wasn't always like this, and they weren't always right. Their story is full of color, light, and love. So that's what makes it a really good story, and we can't wait to share it with you.
Hello and welcome. We all like to fly kites. Occasionally we even like to build them, as we are going to do today with my two guests, Shubra and Vivek. Thank you both for being here. And the reason we want to build kites is because we want to see how it, or rather what it means to create something and then watch it fly. Okay, so we're going to build a kite before we fly it, like you guys did. And so let's take the pieces, and you can take your pieces, I'll take mine. And as we do that, just tell me a little bit about Chumbak as it started, and then you reached a point where you were a series of small stores, and then you took a big leap and you became a big chain, so to speak. And that's not easy. And we're going to talk about what it takes.
We started off sometime, I think, in about 2010. And the entire dream was like, we looked around and we used to travel abroad, travel here. And one of the quickest, gifts that we used to bring back for ourselves, or even memories that, of the place, were like souvenirs, and more specifically fridge magnets, And for the life of us, we couldn't figure out why India didn't have fridge magnets. A place in abroad where there were maybe a population of 1,000 people had fridge magnets available at the souvenir store next to, a monument or something like that. And then we figured, hey, listen, I think this is something that we'd like to do. But along the way, when we were still ideating and stuff like that, I think what happened was, when we showed a couple of designs to friends and family, they said, hey, this is awesome, but this would look nice on a keychain, this would look nice on a notebook, and this would look nice on a t-shirt. And I think somewhere along the way, what happened was that this grew into this accessories kind of, stationaries and stuff kind of business, even before we launched. And I think that's when we said, hey, listen, we've got a business that will actually make us some money and make some kind of, dent in the world kind of thing. And then, of course, then it evolved into what we are, a lifestyle brand today.
Yeah.
But those were the beginnings.
Right. And you quickly moved into selling retail, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the intuitive move would be to say, I will go e-commerce and then build it out like that. But you guys actually went and set up a small kiosks.
Yeah.
So actually, from the very go, we wanted to do both. So the idea was to go wherever our customers are. So in the early years, we didn't really have the capital to have our own stores. So what we did is we distributed through other stores. And
which is your first store?
A place called Cinnamon in Bangalore.
Okay.
So
and that's where you are from.
All the firsts have happened in Bangalore.
Okay.
And then we also, launched our website very early on. So within the first month, we had the distribution to stores as well as our own website up and running.
And what's the ratio to from e-commerce to retail today?
So today, I think e-commerce is about almost 20-25% depending on the month of the business, and the rest is retail. So,
so retail is a substantial part of your business.
It's majority of the business, yes. And as Shubra was saying, I think, for us, since we've been doing this since day one, and, then it became in vogue to say that, we're a hybrid model and stuff like that. I think we've always kind of said that as long as consumers see and buy Chumbak, it doesn't matter which medium they come to. I mean, which channel they come to. I should be able to give them where they go.
Right. So you had this kiosk, the first one being in Cinnamon, and then how many did you build after that?
So
build or roll out, sorry.
The shop-in-shops were like, we closed with about 85 of them across the country, including some chains like Crossword, Reliance Time Out. We had Shopper Stop also as well. Then soon after that, we said, shop-in-shops are great, but we were feeling like to really build a brand, one needed to tell the entire story of Chumbak, and you needed to own your own distribution. So that's when we thought of our pop-up stores.
So a lot of people obviously told you not to do this, right? I mean, this is safe. Your brand is visible, it must be growing, people
Yep.
are obviously buying your merchandise. So then what made you take that next leap?
The reason why we went into retail was, I think, one of the biggest things that drives us, which is our guiding North Star, is brand, right? And I think that honestly, there are two ways to build brand, especially in retail, right? One is to throw money at the problem and like have huge number of, advertisements and TV and stuff like that. And the other way is to open these stores which act as, like large visual hoardings for consumers so that you can see them.
We've had a problem here,
But
I didn't realize how thin this was. So,
so what we'll do is, I think we'll share one.
okay.
And
Great.
maybe then split the colors with Bobby, then we'll
Yeah.
take it from there.
Yeah. So these things happen. I mean, I'm sure you had stores where things have collapsed, the ceiling has collapsed or something like that. I mean, I don't know what the equivalent is, but
Yeah.
It's most of the
Have
time
you?
when you don't
So we've not had
realize that something is going to
Stores
happen.
collapse, but yeah, you have to be prepared for the unexpected all the time.
Yeah.
And I think
what's the unexpected that you've been caught with?
I think many random situations where where there's this one store where we had these automatic shutters that come down, these motorized ones, where someone lost the combination for it, and then also the key.
Yeah.
And the key was very strangely, because the store manager had said, hey, for safekeeping, let me send it to Bangalore. So the keys were with us in the head office, and the store was sitting somewhere else in Delhi. And we had to, we couldn't open it. Somebody literally flew down with the keys to open the store,
Right.
and in the afternoon kind of thing with the mall saying, hey, what's happening and all of that. So random stuff happens, but you take it in your stride, and then one figures out what to do, kind of thing, right?
This is not as bad as that.
Yeah, this is not as bad as that.
Yeah. So the inspiration for you to grow actually came from your consumers.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
created the cult brand before we did.
Yeah.
You know,
But
and I
that's
think
fascinating to hear. Yeah.
because we don't do any kind of mainline advertising or stuff like that, a lot of Chumbak has been spread through word of mouth and actually people walking into stores.
Yeah. These little things go a long way. Someone tells you about a store they walk into, and that actually gives you the fillip to take some pretty big decision about how you want to take the whole business.
So I remember the first store that we sent our first order to in Bombay. The owner called me and she said, my God, this has never happened before. So I said, what happened? But she's like, no, like your stuff arrived and before I could empty out the carton and display it, half of it is sold out.
Wow.
And this has never happened to me. So the second thing was this friend of mine, he called me, he's like, I was at the airport and there were a bunch of guys sitting next to me. And 3 girls and a boy. So one of the girls had a Chumbak phone case, and so the guy's like, "Oh, this is different. I haven't seen this before. Where is it from?" And so the others said Chumbak, and he's like, "What's Chumbak?" And they literally they all pounced on him, and they were like, "How do you not know Chumbak?" So he's like, when your customers start talking about you like that.
Yeah.
That's when you know that you're doing something right.
Right. So the point that you had this moment where your friend talked about this encounter at the airport, is that when you had already decided to set up your first big store, or were you in the process of thinking?
In the process.
Okay.
So this was at the time when we were thinking whether we should go the funding way or not.
And then did you actually raise funding, or?
Yes, we did.
So we did. In 2012, we raised our first round of funding, and primarily to, as Shubra was mentioning, to open these, pop-up stores across the country. And we ended up opening close to about 40 of those exclusive pop-ups. And those did phenomenally well. And I think that paved the path for the larger format stores, which we then opened, I think, about a year and a half into opening these smaller ones.
Yes. So your first store that you were about to open, were you sort of worried that it would not be what you thought it would be, or?
No, actually. So honestly, I think for both Vivek and I, having a large format store
Was a dream.
Was the dream, yeah.
That, for any brand, that is the ultimate dream. So we identified this place, and there was 6 months of a lot of work trying to figure out what to I mean, to begin with, what to put in it.
Yeah, because we were used to these 150 square feet kind of pop-up stores.
Yeah.
Suddenly we've got this 2,500 square feet store. What on earth are we going to put in 2,500 square feet, right? But I think after we started working on it, and the kind of product that we came out, and we started with home as a category, saying that we felt that the home market was broken and there was like really old, boring stuff available in the market for people setting up their first homes. And we said, hey, listen, can we make it colorful kind of thing? So that's the market we went after. And by the time again the samples start coming, and the biggest reassurance is seeing twinkle in people's eyes when they see samples. Like literally when the first time you see a product that you've kind of designed and it's come back from the manufacturer and you're saying, hey, wow, I'm sure this will sell, you know? And there's not so much of data that backs it because the first time you're doing it. So then your gut has to be so strong and so hopefully right.
Okay, so your first store was open and that did well, and then you felt that you had to now shift models and become a large store chain.
Yeah.
So, right. So when the first store opened, I mean, obviously, there was a business plan and there were numbers and, from the very word go, it pretty much smashed all the numbers that we had put on paper. And that's what gave us, all these apprehensions that Vivek spoke about, that would customers accept us in this form, even in terms of graduating from the price points of accessories to, serious home stuff. Would they accept it from Chumbak? And they did, so that gave us a lot of confidence, and we said that, then it makes perfect sense, and we can very much look forward to our journey to become a lifestyle brand.
Right. The inevitable question is, people must be looking at you and saying, okay, how can I do this too? And I'm talking about young people aspiring. So if you were to tell them a line or two,
never stop doing the things you want to do or going after the things you want to do.
Okay. And Vivek, what would it be for you?
I think being just inspired by the mess that we've created while making these.
It's like important to roll up our sleeves.
Rolled up our sleeves and kind of made these amazing looking kites, right?
Which can fly any
I
moment.
am dying to fly them. I think one of the things that we've always looked at is that never stop getting your hands dirty. I think you've always got to get in there, speak to consumers, get a feel of the market, get a feel of what's happening, keep your ears and eyes open kind of thing, And I think by getting your hands dirty, that's the only way one will succeed.
Right. So it's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much. And it's important to get our hands dirty. It's important to play, have fun, and that's how we can build in exciting businesses or kites for that matter. And the Aegons of business never stop. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
So, Anuj, you would tell how many bottles leave your factory every morning or night, as the case might be?
So actually, we do it by anywhere around 1.5 million bottles a month is where we are right now, and this will gradually move to about 3 to 4 million as our capacity starts increasing.
And it'll be at the same place?
At the same place.
Okay.
That's right.
And you're not planning to expand your production capacity?
We are,
as in geographically, that is.
No, so we're already available in about 15 cities in India and in the Middle East. So, but what we're really going to try and do is put up more filling lines and bottling centers across the country as well.